Dish TV, your local news source. This is All Indiana Politics.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of All Indiana Politics. I'm Phil Sanchez. So much has happened this week. We start with the FBI executing a search warrant at Donald Trump's home in Florida. The move has led to an extraordinary political response from around the country, especially Republican leaders. Former Vice President Mike Pence said the action undermines public confidence in our system of justice, and Attorney General Garland must give a full accounting to the American people as to why this action was taken. Senator Mike Braun tweeted that weaponizing the FBI and DOJ against the political opponents of the party in power erodes trust in the justice system. We asked Senator Todd Young about that Friday morning before a court deadline for former President Trump to object to the document release.
We're still learning about exactly why it occurred. We're still learning what the purpose of the search was. The Attorney General, I think, helpfully came out yesterday and provided some remarks about what was going on, why the raid occurred. But I hope to see the warrant. I hope to see an inventory of the documents that were taken in the presence of an attorney. I think the ball will be in the courts. The ball is with the court right now to determine what will be released to the public. And I'm going to withhold judgment until I take a look at the documents.
Some members of your party were saying this is just a blatantly political move. This is totally beyond the pale. I mean, in your mind, are there some circumstances under which this might be justified, or is this just totally beyond?
This certainly seems unprecedented. I don't know that we've had a President of the United States experience this sort of investigation, but I think it's smart for us to withhold full judgment until we see the search warrant and other documents.
Young's comments came during an event at a McCordsville gas station. The owners temporarily lowered gas prices to $2.38 a gallon. That was the nationwide average when President Joe Biden took office. Prices continue to fall from the statewide record of $5.24 a gallon set in June. They're still well above last year's average.
Does the fact that gas prices have been dropping throughout the summer undercut that argument a little bit?
No, not at all. Gas prices tend to go up and down a little bit, and we're seeing that in the markets right now. But directionally over the last 2 years, they've trended consistently upward. We know this is a function because economists tell us of failing to bring enough domestic supply on board. It's also a function, frankly, of reluctance by those who have access to oil and gas leases to build out the infrastructure from those leases because of the fear of future regulation that the administration is creating.
I also asked Young why he voted against a measure to cap insulin prices at $35 per month through insurance plans.
Life-saving, life-extending drugs are going to go up as a function of these sorts of price cap policies. These have been tried in socialist countries, and all you see is shifting of costs from some drug users, some Americans, to other Americans. We need smarter policies. Let's take the regulations out of these sorts of things. Let's continue to incentivize our drug makers to be innovators. Otherwise, they'll have no incentive to innovate. And let's make sure that when there is relief through public policies to be provided on particular Americans, that it goes directly to them and there's not cost shifting to our seniors and people on fixed incomes.
Now, Young's Democratic opponent in November, Tom McDermott, says Young's vote decimates the possibility of lowering the cost of insulin and other prescription drugs. Quote, "We must do everything we can to build a stronger public health system in America. We made tremendous progress in recent years in covering more Americans with health insurance. Though we've got more work to do, especially on the rising cost of health care." He goes on to say we need to get soaring costs under control for Hoosier families. Now to Indiana's newly passed ban on almost all abortion. Major employers, including Eli Lilly and Company, have criticized the ban, but our team reviewed Lilly's political donations and found thousands to lawmakers and state leaders who pushed for that new law. Richard Essex has the details.
62 ayes, 38 noes. The bill has passed.
The bill passed by the legislature and signed by Governor Holcomb late Friday night bans nearly all abortions with the exception for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. By Saturday morning, Lilly had issued a statement criticizing the bill and state leaders. Indiana has opted to quickly adopt one of the most restrictive anti-abortion laws in the United States. We are concerned this law will hinder Lilly's and Indiana's ability to attract diverse scientific, engineering, and business talent from around the world. Given this new law, we will be forced to plan for more employment growth outside of our home state. It comes just a few months after Lilly CEO David Ricks called out state leaders saying Indiana is not up to the challenge of a new economy.
Our education attainment in the state is not good. The ability to reskill the workforce, I think, could improve. Health, life, and inclusion overall, I think conditions rank poorly nationally in our state. And then workforce preparedness, also related to reskilling, is a liability for us.
But an I-Team 8 review of public campaign finance records showed Lilly's Political Action Committee has donated tens of thousands of dollars to state lawmakers and leaders who supported the abortion ban. We reviewed donations to state office candidates from January 1st, 2019 through August of this year, covering the election cycle for this legislature and any current donations. I-Team 8 found that in that time, Lilly Political Action Committee donated $87,500 to state lawmakers who cast votes on the final abortion bill. More than $50,000 of that went to 16 lawmakers, all Republicans, who voted in favor of the ban. That includes $17,000 to House Speaker Todd Houston.
Voters have an opportunity to vote, and if they're displeased, they'll have that opportunity both in November and in future years. So, you come down here and you make the best decisions that you believe are for public policy.
And $15,000 to Senate President Roderick Bray.
Well, obviously, we're protecting life. This is really important, and we do so with the exceptions of the life of the mother and rape and incest, and we're pleased to be able to do that for the state of Indiana. Couldn't be more enthused about that, frankly.
The Lilly PAC donated $37,000 to 20 lawmakers who voted no on the ban, 15 Democrats and 5 Republicans.
The fact is, almost all large businesses support the candidacy of almost all elected leaders of both parties.
Ball State professor Dr. Michael Hicks says the business impact of the abortion bill will take months to begin to play out.
I'm not sure really that the House and Senate leadership had much of a choice to start this debate. The real challenge is, how does it materialize over the next 18 months? I-Team
8 also found Lilly's PAC has given Governor Holcomb's campaign $31,000 since January 1st of 2019. That includes $5,000 on June 30th of this year after the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade and after the governor had delayed the special session to allow lawmakers to pass an abortion ban. In a statement to I-Team 8, Lilly said its PAC contributes to candidates regardless of political affiliation, who understand the value of a vibrant pharmaceutical ecosystem and support pro-innovation policies to address unmet patient needs. It goes on to say our candidate selection criteria are reviewed frequently by our employee board of directors to assure it aligns with our company mission. While it is not uncommon for us to disagree on certain issues with lawmakers, our criteria serve as an important guide to ensure our contributions help us deliver on our promises to patients.
All right, coming up, we bring in Indiana's best political team to talk the news of the week, including the fallout from the FBI search targeting former President Donald Trump. And welcome back to All Indiana Politics on this Sunday as we welcome back 2 members of Indiana's best political team, Democrat Laura Beck and Mario Maslamani, the chairman of the Hamilton County Republican Party. Good to see you both. Let's start by talking about the FBI search of President Trump's Mar-A-Lago home. Mario, we'll start with you this week. Republicans have almost unanimously, as you very well know, attacked the FBI for this, saying law enforcement was being politicized. You're an attorney. Do you agree?
So, to be honest with you, I think we need to figure out what's going on. I think it's too early to jump to any sort of conclusions as to what the raid was for. If it's dealing with just documents that were in that locked room and it has nothing to do with any other investigation, I think that then there might be a government overreach. But if there is more to this, I think that there could be some sort of issues. So I think it's a wait and see process. I think that, Trump and his supporters are pushing back on this FBI raid. I think that, they're garnering a lot of support, solidifying, support for Donald Trump. I tell you this week has been crazy in Hamilton County. People have been calling up, galvanized, passionate about how they can get involved, how they can help Republican candidates in Hamilton County in the state of Indiana. So this has been great for Republicans, getting them fired up. I don't know what they have as it pertains to the FBI in regards to their search warrants.
Laura, your thoughts on that raid?
Well, I think we're going to learn more about the raid, and I think Mario is right. I think we're going to see it all shake out. You do have to, in this country, have probable cause to get a warrant, and as we heard from the Attorney General, he was also involved in this and wants those documents to be out there, as does Donald Trump. I think it was interesting on Friday, the Wall Street Journal reported that there were 11 sets of classified documents that were recovered that were marked either top secret and should be in special government facilities. So we don't know if it was an oversight. We don't know if they were all just stuffed in a box and thrown into the basement. But what I think we do know is we are 2 years out from the next presidential election, and we're talking about Donald Trump. And it may be great to rally your base, but for the average swing voter who both of our parties need to win over for general election and midterms, Trump is what they're thinking about right now. They're not thinking about these other issues that are winning issues for Republicans particularly. So as long as he continues to keep himself out there in the forefront, he is going to be sucking all the air out of the room and taking up valuable time that they're not getting the message on their issues.
So Mario, is the type of language, though, that some GOP leaders have been using putting law enforcement, specifically federal law enforcement, at risk?
I don't think so. I think that they're upset with the way the Department of Justice handled this investigation or executed these search warrants. So the question becomes, what are they actually looking for? If it deals with nuclear documents, that's one thing. If it is dealing with some letters that a foreign, diplomat or a foreign leader wrote to Donald Trump, that can be addressed through a court of law. I think that Trump's attorneys were working with the Department of Justice and with the proper authorities to, decide what items should be returned. So that process, I believe, was going. So really, until we figure out what is behind the probable cause affidavit of the search warrants, it's too hard and it's too easy to speculate on what that is. But if it dealt with just secure or classified documents that were still within that storage unit that were locked up, that they had agreed to lock up, and there could have been proper channels, proper procedures taken in place to secure those documents, that's one thing. If this leads to something bigger, then I think that, the public will be in more shock. But I think that people right now are just shocked and, upset that the former president, this is unprecedented,
right.
Unprecedented behavior from the FBI and the federal agencies. So I think that still we need to wait and see what the probable cause affidavit is.
And we certainly will. Laura, this seems like another of the bombshell moments, though, for Democrats about Trump that so many times have kind of fizzled into essentially kind of no big deal. Your thoughts?
Well, it remains to be seen. It absolutely remains to be seen on this. And again, we don't know what's there. We do know from, if you consider the Wall Street Journal to be a reputable source, we do know that there were 11 sets of documents that should have been in a secure facility, not at Mar-A-Lago, where the security protocols are rather light. But I think it's just continues to be the pattern for Donald Trump. I would say less about investigations, but it continues to be the pattern. Everyone else follows the rules. George W. Bush followed the rules. Ronald Reagan's administration, George Bush followed. Regardless of party, people follow what the laws are, and Donald Trump does not believe they apply to him. And who knows? This might be the one that ends up getting him. You just don't know. I don't think at any point in time that I think anyone takes lightly going in with the FBI to a former president's home. I don't think that's something that's taken lightly, and I think it's a good sign that the Attorney General wants to have more transparency as to what they were looking for. But I do think it brings up a very concerning issue about the safety and security of our law enforcement officers, particularly those in the FBI. And you had someone in Cincinnati go and try and do an act of domestic terrorism.
Right.
That's really scary because those are people who feel emboldened and emblazoned to do that because of Donald Trump.
Too much of that, yeah.
I hope not.
Laura, Mario, stick with us. We'll be right back. It was a big week for the Biden administration. We'll talk much more about that coming up on All Indiana Politics. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics. Mario and Laura still with us here. Let's talk inflation. The Biden administration, as you very well know, passing their relief plan. Laura, the president has racked up some big legislative wins in the past few weeks, but is it too late to help in November?
I don't think it's too late at all to help in November. And frankly, I think we're going to see some real immediate effects, especially when it comes to healthcare, it comes to reforming taxation, especially on the largest corporations, and making sure that they're paying their fair share. And it also, I think, is going to make some historic investments in clean energy and really begin to stem the tide on climate change, which is something that Mario and I, and you, Phil, probably haven't seen in our lifetimes. So I don't think anything's off the table to make a difference in November. But I also think that good politics is good government, and good government is good politics. And I think people are going to start seeing relief.
Mario?
I think this is a terrible bill. I think the impact of this is not going to be known for a while. They talk about how this is an inflation reduction bill. I don't think that this has anything to do with reducing inflation. This is a bag of goodies for the Democrats' projects regarding, climate change and, green care. I don't think that this is really going to do much for November. It's funny, I was actually watching CNN this week, and Chuck Schumer was trying to talk about the bill and how the great impact it's going to be on America. Guess what all of the commentators were wanting to talk to him about? Mar-A-Lago and the raid. So I think that, as Laura had said in the previous segment, that has kind of sucked up all the air in the room. Democrats in Indiana want to talk about abortion. Democrats nationally want to talk about this inflation reduction bill. No one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about the raid and what's going on with that. And I don't think that this inflation reduction bill, is going to have the impact that's necessary in the next couple of months to help, struggling Hoosiers or struggling Americans. And so when people are going to the gas pump and they're still paying large amounts of money, when the weather gets cold and people's heat bills have increased significantly, I think that they're going to take out their anger and frustration this November, and it's going to be a red wave.
About 90 seconds left. I want to get to another topic here. We heard, Mario, from Todd Young on his vote on the insulin price cap. He can explain it really however he wants, but isn't this one of those votes that people tend to remember and act upon?
I think that there's still something that can be done in the next upcoming months. I think that there are a lot of Republicans that want to make sure that we have affordable health care for citizens in the United States. I don't think that this is dead, just like the veterans bill that ended up being passed after it was originally voted down. I think that there's a lot more work to be done within the bill, but I think that this is going to come up in the next few months and something's going to get passed.
Laura, I have about a minute left. Close us out.
Well, I think the insulin cap is something that the average person can really hold on to, especially when you think about people who are on Medicare, who are on fixed incomes, and are having to pay through the nose, frankly, for insulin. So I think those are the kind of kitchen table issues that really stick with people. And I do think it's frankly going to hurt Todd Young because it's something that people can really latch onto. At the same time, you also have with the Republicans, they are having to, and they are trying to step away from this abortion bill, particularly in Indiana. I think that's going to really have an impact on a lot of these donut counties, suburban and urban races that we know are going to be close.
Okay. Laura, Mario, good to see you both. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Great.
We'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you.
for joining us for All Indiana Politics this week. We'll be back here next Sunday morning at 9:30. You can also find our brand new All Indiana Politics podcast. It's part of the All Indiana Podcast Network over at wishtv.com. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you throughout the week.